Hare Krishna, dear devotees from all over the world, please accept our most humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much to each and every one of you for joining us for the second session of day 2 of the most auspicious Vyasa Puja online celebration commemorating 125 years of the appearance of our greatest spiritual master, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. We have a very, very special session prepared for all of you today, this afternoon or this evening, depending on where you are in the world. And we have very special personalities that will be with us today. So please stay with us throughout the session. I'm sure you will have nectarian experiences. We're very happy that you all joined. Thank you so much. First of all, we would like to give a very, very, very warm welcome to the organizer of this event, His Holiness Bhakti Dhira Damodara Swami. Please accept my humble obeisances, Maharaj. Thank you so much on behalf of all of us for making this event possible and engaging us for the benefit of all and also for the pleasure of Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much. And for those of you joining, Hare Krishna. For those of you joining for the first time, His Holiness Bhakti Dhira Damodara Swami is a sannyasi and Diksha Guru based in Lagos, Nigeria, and was the first sannyasi and Diksha Guru in the whole African continent, and he is a disciple of His Holiness Bhakti Tirtha Swami. Hare Krishna. And today we have the very special presence of His Holiness Jayapataka Swami with us. Has he arrived yet?
Hare Krishna, Maharaj will be here in 2 minutes.
Okay, thank you so much. So we will go to announcements then. We will do some special announcements.
This is already here.
Is he already here?
Yes.
Oh, I think he hasn't joined yet by what the technical team is saying. He will actually be joining in 2 minutes. So for those who are speaking, we have some Portuguese speakers from Brazil and Portugal, so I will give the instructions in Portuguese. Para aqueles que estão precisam da interpretação simultânea, por favor, usem, cliquem nesse globinho na parte inferior da tela e vão em Language Interpretation, aí cliquem em português para ouvir a tradução simultânea. Para aqueles usando o celular, clique, por favor, no ícone dos 3 pontinhos e daí clique no Global Language Interpretation e aí vocês poderão ver o canal português. Por favor, clique em português e depois clique em Done, D-O-N-E, e aí vocês vão poder ouvir a tradução simultânea em português. Muito obrigada. Hare Krishna, thank you so much. And now, shall we move on to the schedule? So today, as you can see, we have a very, very special schedule. We will start with Srila Prabhupada in Mayapur, a talk by His Holiness Jayapataka Swami, followed by her Grace Brajalila Devidasi. She will be talking about experiencing Srila Prabhupada's love and compassion through the mercy of her Guru, Bhakti Tirtha Swami, His Holiness Bhakti Tirtha Swami. Then we will have a music offering from devotees from India called The Lover of the Lord, followed by offerings by grand disciples of Srila Prabhupada, and also then followed by a video on Srila Prabhupada about prasadam to perfection. And then lastly, we will have a video by His Holiness Bhakti Tirtha Swami, who will be sharing, talking to us about piercing instruction. So that is our schedule for today. Please stay with us and it will be amazing. I am sure you will all enjoy it very much. And also we have the quiz. So every day we have in all sessions, we are having quizzes of different types. So the top 3 devotees who answer all the questions correctly and consistently in all 5 sessions will get a special mercy in the form of a spiritual prize. So it's a surprise. So please participate. You can test your knowledge and also you can learn a little bit in our interactive quiz. Thank you so much. I really hope you enjoy it. And are we ready?
Okay.
Hare Krishna. And now we would
Hare-
like to.
Hare Krishna Mataji, we are ready from our side.
Krishna Padaya
Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale
Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami
Iti Namine
Namaste Saraswati Devi
Gauravani Pracharine
Nirvishesha Sannavadi
Paschatya Deshatarine
Sri Krishna Chaitanya
Prabhu Nityananda
Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi
Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare
Hare Rama Hare Rama
Rama Rama Hare Hare
Hare Hare Nama Krishna
Yadavaya Namaha
Gopala Govinda Ram
Shri Madhusudan
Mokha Karo Divajalam
Pangum Langayate Girim
Yativadavan Mande
Shri Gurum Dinatarinam
Paramananda Madhavam
Shri Chaitanyam Ishwaram
Hare Om Tat Sat. So I'm supposed to speak about Prabhupada's pastimes in Mayapur.
So I am supposed to speak about Prabhupada's pastimes in Mayapur.
Actually, when he would come, there was a big festive mood.
Actually, when he would come, there would be a big festive mood.
And we'd have people they would see his car and blow firecrackers.
We had the people, when they would see his car, they'll blow firecrackers.
And then they'd turn on the siren
And then we would turn on the siren
that Prabhupada was here arriving.
that Prabhupada was here arriving.
And then when he came to the main gate,
And then when he came to the main gate,
all the devotees were throwing flowers at his car.
all devotees would be throwing flowers at his car.
And he came to the temple
And he came to the temple
and he had darshan of the deity.
and he had darshan of the deities.
And he circumambulated the deity
Then he would circumambulate the deity
3 times.
3 times.
Then he would go to his seat.
Then he would go to his seat.
And he'd bathe his lotus feet.
And then we would bathe his lotus feet.
And he would give a class.
And he would give a class.
So devotees were so happy to see Prabhupada.
So devotees were so happy to see Prabhupada.
And just like when Krishna came to Dwarka, everybody had a new life.
Just like when Krishna came to Dwarka, everybody had a new life.
When Prabhupada came to Mayapur, everybody got a new life.
When Srila Prabhupada came to Mayapur, everybody got a new life.
So for about 2 days, he would be all praised.
So for about 2 days or so, he would be at all praise or so.
Then he'd start to find faults.
And then he would start to find faults.
That he wanted us to be highest example of cleanliness.
That he wanted us to be highest example of cleanliness.
And walk around the Mayapur Dham.
He would walk around the Mayapur Dham.
If he saw any waste paper or something,
If he would see any waste paper or something,
he would point at it and say, "What is that?"
he would point out, what is that?
No. So this way he was training us.
In this way, he was training us.
At first, we'd stay in the grass hut.
At first, he would stay in the grass hut.
Later on, he stayed in the Lotus building.
Later on, he stayed at the Lotus building.
When he was in the grass hut, then we had a small goshala.
When he was at the grass hut, we had a small goshala.
And I had about a half dozen cows.
They had half a dozen of cows.
And one of the cows was called 𝐾𝐚𝐦𝐢.
One of the cows was called 𝐾𝐚𝐦𝐢.
She gave milk without a cow.
She gave milk without a calf.
So it's very rare. Usually they only give milk when they have a cow.
So that's very rare. Usually they only give milk when they have a calf.
But after her cows grew up, she continued to give milk.
But after her calves grew up, she continued to give milk.
She was taking the grass around the grass hut of Prabhupada.
She was eating the grass around the grass hut of Prabhupada.
And then somehow she knocked over the beehive.
And somehow she knocked over the beehive.
Then bees swarmed inside Srila Prabhupada's quarters.
And the bees swarmed inside Srila Prabhupada's quarters.
And then he called, Jayapataka.
Then he called, Jayapataka.
Then bees all over.
There were bees all over.
So he wanted me to get rid of the bees.
So he wanted me to get rid of the bees.
And he was advising that we shouldn't put the beehive right by his house.
And he was advising that we shouldn't put the beehive just beside his house.
So I got on my bee suit and took out the bees.
So I got my bee suit and took out the bees.
I just every day was something different.
So like this, every day was something different.
Prabhupada would walk on the road, and in the morning,
Prabhupada would walk on the road, and in the morning,
and then he said we could have first class, second class, third class, and fourth class devotees.
and then he said we could have first class, second class, third class, and fourth class devotees,
But no fifth class.
but no fifth class.
Brahman, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Sudras.
Brahman, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras.
Okay,
They are okay,
but not the lazies and crazies.
but not the lazies and crazies.
So the fifth class, Chandalas and others, they were prohibited.
So the fifth class, the Chandalas and the others, they were prohibited.
So one man, he walked down the Prabhupada on the road,
So one man, he walked down to Prabhupada on the road,
and then Prabhupada asked, what does he do?
and then Prabhupada asked, what did he do?
He said he knew how to handloom cloth.
He said he knew how to handloom cloth.
So Prabhupada said, that's all right.
Srila Prabhupada said, that's all right.
We need to make our own cloth. We need to make our own cloth.
We need a Vrindavan cloth.
We need to make our own cloth.
We need to make our own cloth.
But he couldn't see the threads. It's too old.
But he couldn't see the threads. He was too old.
So he had to get some glasses.
So he had to get his glasses.
Then he could see the thread.
Then he could see the thread.
Like this.
So like this.
Prabhupada, and someone asked Prabhupada, is this tree a desire tree?
So someone asked Prabhupada, is this tree a desire tree?
He said, why not?
Srila Prabhupada said, why not?
all the trees in the dham are desire trees.
All the trees in the dham are desire trees.
Like, then so we were walking, and sometimes walk by the Ganges River, sometimes by the Ganges River.
Sometimes would be walking by the Jalangi River, sometimes by the Ganges River.
In the Jalangi River side, Prabhupada was saying, we should buy our vegetables wholesale.
On the Jalangi River side, Srila Prabhupada was saying we should buy our vegetables wholesale.
And then a man came by with a big basket of vegetables on his head.
And then a man came by with a big basket of vegetables on his head.
And Prabhupada said, where are you going?
And Prabhupada said, where are you going?
I'm going to Navadvip to sell the vegetables at the market.
I'm going to Navadvip. In the south, there is a vegetable market.
Prabhupada said, I'll buy all your vegetables.
Prabhupada said, I'll buy all your vegetables.
You don't have to waste your time to go to Navadvip.
You don't have to waste your time to go to Navadvip.
Do your work in your house.
Do your work in your house.
How much? And he bought the whole basket of vegetables.
And he bought the whole basket of vegetables.
And he made a price with the guy.
And he made a price with the guy.
And he said, somebody take them to the kitchen, unload the vegetables, give the money, and then give him back his basket.
And he told the devotees to take the vegetables to the kitchen, unload the vegetables, and return the basket.
Give the guy the money.
And give the guy the money.
So Prabhupada was very practical.
And so Srila Prabhupada was very practical.
When he said something, he would really do it.
When he said something, he would immediately do it.
And then at that time, I was still very young.
At that time, I was still very young.
I was 21 in 1970.
I was 21 in 1970.
Radhashtami, he gave me sannyas.
On the Radhashtami, he gave me sannyas.
Which, so in a few days, I'll be reaching my 51st year of sannyas.
In a few days, I'll be reaching my 51st year of sannyas.
Tuesday is Radhashtami.
Tuesday is Radhashtami.
So, one day, a Prabhupada, he said, let's go to the Ganges.
One day, Srila Prabhupada, he took us to the Ganges.
And then he had me lead the way on small aisles between the plots.
He had me lead the way, and there were small aisles between the blocks.
He said, these are the highways. Swami knows the highways.
So he told, these are the highways. Jayapataka Swami knows the highways.
And then he went to the Ganges. Prabhupada looked around, said, there's no ladies here. Let's take a bath.
Prabhupada looked around, there are no ladies here, so let's take a bath.
His secretary said, we don't have any gear.
His secretary said, we don't have any swimming gear.
No, that's all right. I just give you a top piece over it.
Prabhupada said, that's all right. You can wear your top piece and get in.
So he wore the top piece like a gamcha and went into the Ganges.
So he wore the top piece like a gamcha and ran into the Ganges.
And then he would color his eyes, ears, nose, mouth with his fingers.
So he would cover his eyes, ears, nose, mouth with his fingers.
And then he bow down 3 times in the water.
And he would bow down 3 times in the water.
Someone started to play around and splash Prabhupada.
Someone started to play around and splash Prabhupada.
And Prabhupada looked at him, grave, and he stopped. He got the message.
Then Prabhupada looked at him gravely and he stopped. He got the message.
So, like this, it was very spontaneous with Srila Prabhupada.
So like this, it was very spontaneous with Srila Prabhupada.
In his room, from 4 to 6, he had an open policy. Anyone could come and see him.
So in his room, he had a policy between 4 to 6. Anyone could come and see him.
When police inspector, he came to see,
So once a police inspector, he came to see him.
and he asked if he gave initiation.
And he asked he would like to take initiation.
Prabhupada said you have to chant 16 rounds.
Prabhupada said you have to chant 16 rounds.
How many rounds did you chant?
How many rounds does he chant?
He said, I only chant 8 rounds.
He said, I only chant 8 rounds.
Well, you have to go up to 16 rounds and I'll consider.
So you have to get up to 16 rounds and then we will consider.
Like this, Prabhupada see different people.
So like this, Srila Prabhupada would see different people.
He was teaching how to eat the coconut balls.
He was teaching how to eat the coconut balls.
Pop them in the mouth without touching.
Pop them in the mouth without touching.
Without touching.
Yeah. Pop them in the mouth without touching.
I remember that Brahmananda, he was trying to eat. He touched. Prabhupada said, you touched. You touched.
I remember that Brahmananda, while he was trying to eat, he touched. And Prabhupada pointed out, you touched.
Go wash your hand.
Go wash your hands.
You have to eat without touching.
You have to eat without touching.
If you touch, your hand becomes mochi.
If you touch, your hand becomes muchi.
So, you're teaching how to eat sweet balls, how to eat, how to drink water without touching.
So he was teaching how to eat sweet balls, how to drink water without touching.
Someone told me that when I see Prabhupada, I should humble myself before Prabhupada.
Someone told me when I see Srila Prabhupada, I should humble myself before Prabhupada
And glorify him,
and glorify him
and then ask for some benediction.
and ask for some benediction.
I sought and humble myself.
So I humbled myself.
I sought, I said, Prabhupada, I'm grateful.
So I said, Prabhupada, I am a great fool.
And he said, yes.
And he said, yes.
And one day I said, Prabhupada, I want to serve you life after life.
And one day I said, Prabhupada, I want to serve you life after life.
He said, why do you want to make me come back?
He said, why do you want me to come back?
You should go back to the spiritual world, not make me come back.
You should go back to the spiritual world, not make me come back.
I thought, well, what I'm saying is, I thought it was the right thing.
I thought for a while, then I thought that what I was saying was the right thing.
I said, well, I want to serve you even life after life.
Then I said, I want to serve you even life after life.
That if you decide I should take birth again, then in that birth I want to serve you.
that if you decide I should take birth again, in that birth I would like to serve you.
And then when I said even life after life, then he smiled.
And then when I said even life after life, he gave a smile.
Like that, there was different engagements.
So like that, there were different engagements.
And I tried to do this policy and be humble, glorify him.
So I tried to follow this policy of being humble, glorifying him,
And ask him for mercy.
and then asking for some mercy.
I saw one time he was calling me. He said, 𝐤𝐢𝐳𝐝𝐴𝐺, 𝐤𝐢𝐳𝐝𝐴𝐺.
So one time he was calling me. He said, Jai Pataka, Jai Pataka.
I went running, and he was inside the bathroom.
And I was running. He was inside the bathroom.
And the snake was in the door.
And there was a snake in the door,
Poisonous viper.
a poisonous viper.
And Prabhupada, if he was holding the door. If he let the door go, the viper would come loose and bite him.
He was holding the door, and if you let loose the door, the viper would come in and bite him.
So then he asked me, do something.
So then he asked me, do something.
I told him to leave the door go.
Then I told him to let the door go.
And then I pushed the door shut
Then I pushed the door shut
and crushed the viper snake.
and crushed the viper, the snake.
And then I opened the door
And then I opened the door
and grabbed Prabhupada, pulled him out.
and grabbed Prabhupada and pulled him out.
So then he said that maybe the viper was planted by some of his enemies.
Then he said that this viper was planted by some of his enemies.
I said wherever there's a viper, a snake, that he'll have one mate.
So he said that wherever there is a viper, a snake, he'll have one mate.
Find a mate also. And the mate looks at the eye and sees the last person who was there in a vision of the snake.
Okay, the mate will come and see the eye and see which was the last person the viper looked at.
Like that, there was so many things happening.
So like that, there were so many things happening.
That way, we had to burn the snake so that his eyes will not saw anymore.
So we had to burn the snake so that the eyes would not be seen by the mate.
Like this, there were so many things that happened in Mayapur.
So like that, there were so many things that were happening in Mayapur.
Prabhupada had to get out every night at midnight and write down, he'd be translating, putting his dictaphone until like 4 in the morning.
Srila Prabhupada would get up at midnight and he would be translating until 4 in the morning.
Sometimes he called me at 2 a.m. and wanted to tell me something.
Sometimes he would call me at 2 a.m. and wanted to tell me something.
I would see that he was, translating up all night, practically midnight till 4, and he was translating the books, the Bhagavatam.
So then I would see that he would be translating from midnight to 4 and he would be translating the Bhagavatam.
And that's why we hope that all your disciples and all the devotees they read Prabhupada books.
So that's why we hope all your disciples and all the devotees, they read Prabhupada books.
Prabhupada went to great effort to translate and write these books.
Prabhupada went through a great effort to translate and write these books.
He also said that it's Krishna speaking through him for the purpose.
He also said that it's Krishna speaking through him for the purports.
So, I started now half hour. Should I end here?
So it's already half hour. Should I end now, Maharaj?
Bhakti Dhira Damodar Maharaj, Guru Maharaj is asking, it is already 9:30 here. You want Guru Maharaj to end now?
Maharaj, you have the freedom. You have the freedom.
You have the freedom, Srila Gurudev.
Yeah, someone else scheduled a class at 9:30.
You have someone else scheduled for class at 9:30?
Yes, Swami. Yes.
I'll just I'll end with one lila.
So I'll just end with one Leela.
Okay.
One
Okay.
day, Prabhupada, it was a day of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur's disappearance day.
So one day, Srila Prabhupada, it was the day of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's disappearance day.
On such days, he put the picture of Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur on his yasana.
On such day, he would put the picture of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur
Then he would have a chair and sit by the side.
and on the Vyasa, and he would have a chair to sit by the side.
So he was saying how there was the previous acharyas who tried to do something to glorify Lord Chaitanya and Holy Dham.
So he was saying as to how the previous acharya would be trying to do something to glorify Lord Chaitanya in the Dham.
And then he said he would also like to do something.
And then he said he would also like to do something.
So he wanted to build the temple of Vedic planetarium.
And so he wanted to build the temple of Vedic planetarium.
He said he was very grateful for all the devotees who are helping him.
He said he was very grateful for all the devotees who were helping him.
And then saying that he choked up and he was crying, couldn't speak anymore.
And then saying that he choked up, he couldn't speak anymore.
So they say that for Prabhupada it was very close to his heart, the building of the temple of Vedic planetarium.
So we see that it was very close to his heart, the building of the temple of the Vedic planetarium.
And his books, the translation and the expansion of his books was also very important.
So the expansion of his books was also very important.
So I thank you for this opportunity to visit you and tell something about Prabhupada.
So I thank you for this opportunity to visit you and tell something about Prabhupada.
Sometimes I visit West Africa by Zoom.
Sometimes I visit West Africa by Zoom.
Sometimes I visit Brazil and other places by Zoom.
Sometimes I visit Brazil and other places by Zoom.
Tomorrow I visit the Latin America.
Tomorrow I'll be visiting Latin America.
So every Sunday,
So every Sunday,
very happy that you invited me,
so I'm very happy that you invited me,
and I see that you have been preaching all over.
and I see that you have been preaching all over.
All glories to your service.
So all glories to your service.
All glories to Bhakti Tirtha Swami.
All glories to Bhakti Tirtha Swami.
Actually, Prabhupada, he told us that Bhakti Tirtha Swami, at that time, his name was Ghanashyam. He went to distribute books in the Soviet Union.
Actually, Srila Prabhupada told us Bhakti Tirtha Swami at that time, his name was Ghanashyam Das. He was distributing books in the Soviet Union.
He wanted us all to pray for him.
He wanted us all to pray for him.
We said, who are we to pray for him? If you're there.
We said, who are we to pray? You are there?
Prabhupada said, Krishna also listened to you. You should all pray. He's on a very difficult mission.
Prabhupada said, Krishna will also listen to you. You should all pray. He is on a very difficult mission.
Preaching science books behind the Iron Curtain, behind the Soviet Union.
Preaching, distributing books behind the Iron Curtain, inside the Soviet Union.
So, I'm very grateful. I pray every day for the disciples of Bhakti Tirtha Swami.
So I'm very grateful. I pray every day for the disciples of Bhakti Tirtha Swami.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Maharaj ki jai. Thank you very much, Maharaj.
Jai, thank you so much, Maharaj. It was such an honor to have you here today. And we are so grateful for your presence here today. Maharaj, thank you so much for sharing these wonderful nectarian pastimes of Srila Prabhupada. It filled our hearts with so much love. And please, we would like to share with you, we would like to offer you a garland, the Maha garland from Srila Prabhupada from Mauritius. So please accept the virtual garland by His Grace Jayananda Das. He will be offering the garland to you now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm accepting your garland.
Thank you. I'm accepting your garland.
Thank you very much, Maharaj. It was an honor to have you here. Thank you so much for your presence here today.
Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. His Holiness Bhakti Dhira Damodara Swami Maharaj ki jai.
Ki jai. Japataka Maharaj ki jai.
And now we would like also for the Guru Maharaj to offer you a garland. So the devotees from Lagos, please, if we could offer the garland to Srila Gurudeva now. We couldn't do it in the beginning, so we would like to do it now if possible. Jai. Thank you so much, devotees. Okay, excellent. Now we would like to continue our wonderful program. And now we have the honor of having another special guest speaker today. And her name is Her Grace Brajalila Mataji, who is a disciple of Bhakti Tirtha Swami. And she will be speaking about experiencing Srila Prabhupada's love and compassion through the mercy of my spiritual master, His Holiness Bhakti Tirtha Swami. Mataji, thank you so much for being here with us today. We are honored with your presence here. Before you start, before I introduce you, we would like to first offer you also a virtual garland. And we would like to call Padmavati Mataji from Mauritius to offer you the virtual garland.
Hare Krishna. Hare Bol. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Please accept this Mahagalan from Krishna Balram Mandir, Mauritius.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. You're so very
Thank you,
kind. Wow, I am so inspired. I'm so inspired. I'm so inspired by the team that organized this amazing program on behalf of His Holiness Bhakti Dhira Damodara Maharaj. You're inspiring devotees all over the place, Maharaj. Thank you so very much. Please accept my humble obeisance. All glories to our beloved Bhakti Tirtha Swami, our beloved Maharaj, and to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
So,
Thank you very much for being with us.
Hari Hari, Hari Bol. So I'm just going to say a quick prayer before I share anything on behalf of our beloved spiritual master, our revered Guru Maharaj. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatyadesha Tarine. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Tirtha Swami Iti Namine. Namaste Krishna Padaya Prabhupada Shtatmane Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Bhakti Tirtha Iti Namine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Hare Bol. So thank you very much. Again, I want to thank the organizers and of course, His Holiness Bhakti Dhira Damodara Maharaj. The 125th anniversary celebration of Srila Prabhupada's appearance has been going on all over the world. And there are many different ways that devotees have been celebrating. However, this is the way you've chosen to do this. It's a very creative and very inspiring. And it's just beautiful that the generation that is being engaged here. It's like, I was sharing this with someone that it's, I'm guessing this is like 4th generation, is it? First, second, third, and it's probably 4th generation of disciples that are carrying on Srila Prabhupada's mission. And so I know I don't have a lot of time, so I really want to share very quickly just some points that I thought might possibly give a connection to you, all of you, with our beloved spiritual master, Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj, disciple of Srila Prabhupada. So when I met Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj in 1979, he had just taken sannyas. And I came at that time, Prabhupada had just left the planet, and Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj was very much engaged, in just taking sannyas. He had just taken sannyas. And I met him just when he had taken sannyas. And when I first saw him, I first saw my spiritual master, I thought, wow, he's renounced the world and he's so young. That was my first thought. And then as time went on, as I saw his service to Srila Prabhupada, it just, not only was it nurturing for me as a disciple, it really endeared my heart to understanding more about Srila Prabhupada and who Srila Prabhupada is by the example of my spiritual master. So I'd like to first share a quote from I'm sorry, my nose ring is going crazy, from Srila Prabhupada. And this is following what I just heard from His Holiness Japataka Maharaj. Really want to thank His Holiness Japataka Maharaj for being with everyone, because he's been such an important personality in Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj's service. Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj, our spiritual master, he revered His Holiness Japataka Maharaj, really revered. And he taught us that. He taught us how to serve Japataka Maharaj, which we had the privilege and honor of serving His Holiness Japataka Maharaj many times, even in this house where I am right now. Japataka Maharaj actually came here a couple of times, and we got the privilege to serve him. So I wanted to start to share with you about how Srila Prabhupada, he has given us so many gifts, innumerable gifts. I mean, we cannot count on our hands the gifts that Srila Prabhupada has left us with, the legacy he's left us to carry on. Now, I want to read just really quickly a short excerpt from a letter that Srila Prabhupada actually addressed the moth at a meeting. And this is just a short excerpt from what he shared at the Gaudiya Math at this time. So Prabhupada, he quoted, it's a quote from a speech that he gave to the members of the Gaudiya Math in Mumbai in 1936. And this was the anniversary of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's appearance day. And so Prabhupada, he says, to receive the transcendental knowledge, we must completely surrender ourselves to the real Acharya in the spirit of ardent inquiry and service. Inquiry and service. Actual performance of service to the Absolute under guidance of the Acharya is the only vehicle by which we can assimilate transcendental knowledge. And he continued, today's meeting for offering our humble service and homage to the feet of the Acharya will enable us to be favored with the capacity of assimilating the transcendental knowledge, so kindly transmitted by him to all persons without distinction, And so His Holiness Bhakti Dhira Damodara Maharaj is following in the footsteps of His Holiness Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj, who Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj is following in the footsteps of Srila Prabhupada, who Srila Prabhupada is following in the footsteps of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj, to bring us this understanding about what it means to have transcendental knowledge and carry on the message of transcendental knowledge. Now, Srila Prabhupada, with his many, many, many gifts, has given us this gift that is so dear to my understanding of carrying on the mission. And that's the gift of his disciples, the gift of his disciples. And so Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj, being one of those gifts, has taught me at a very early, when I was like a child in Krishna consciousness. I'm still like a child. However, over the years, of course, you know, we learn certain things and we kind of imbibe certain things in our consciousness. Actually, Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj, he always says, if you're not growing in Krishna consciousness, then I'm not really properly following my spiritual master. So, you know, even though we may only grow a little, we always need to be growing. And so Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj, there's this beautiful story I just want to share. It's a little anecdotal in one sense. However, it's actually a real story. It really happened. Of how I was endeared to Srila Prabhupada by my spiritual master, Bhakti Tirtha Swami. So as I said, when I came to Krishna consciousness, Srila Prabhupada had just left. And the mood of all his disciples was a mood of grieving. Everyone was kind of grieving, sad. That was what I came into in New York City in 1979. However, Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj, what I received from him, although he was grieving, he was very enthusiastic, and he had this kind of surreal determination for distributing Srila Prabhupada's books. It was like incredible to me. And so I joined him, and he was doing a restaurant he was at that time, having a restaurant in Washington, DC. And he was at that time also soliciting books so that books could be distributed. And so immediately that was how I was trained, that to distribute Srila Prabhupada's books. That was it. You've come to me, I'm going to give you the guidance. What you're going to do practically to show your love for me and my spiritual master is distribute Srila Prabhupada's books. So that was my introduction. And so in that restaurant at the time, it was really austere. And Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj didn't have many people with him. I think there might have been about 4 of us at that time. And I remember when I joined him at the restaurant, I asked, where does he sleep? Where does he sleep? Because I couldn't understand where was the spiritual master sleeping? I just knew that our quarters were so small, and where was he sleeping? And then the devotees, they shared with me that was there. Oh, he sleep in the book room. in the room that we store the books. That's where he sleeps. He put his mat down in that room at night, and then in the mornings he gets up and roll his mat up and put it away. And then that's the book room. And I was like stunned. I was like, wow, this is supposed to be like the spiritual teacher, the guide, whatever, the authority, and he's sleeping in the book room. Well, as time went on, I started understanding that he was very austere and that he had learned that from distributing books. Of course, as Jayapataka Maharaj said, in the Soviet Union countries, he was very, very austere. So one day he woke up from that room and came to the devotees. We were gathered in the little temple room we had. And he told us he had a dream from Srila Prabhupada. So Srila Prabhupada came to me in a dream. And he said, Srila Prabhupada was pointing, and I'm just going to break the story down just a little bit so you get an idea. Srila Prabhupada was pointing to me to these faces of all these people. And all of these people had black faces, many, some, all of them. And he was pointing and he was telling him, come, you come. So I've made the story a little short. You come. He's pointing to him to go somewhere. And he was kind of a little bewildered in the dream. He was confused, like where Prabhupada wants me to go. And Prabhupada was opening the door. He was opening the door and he said, come. And so that morning he said, so when I went back to sleep, I realized I had to leave. I have to leave. I have to go to Africa. I have to leave. Because Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj had wanted to do that anyway. However, he had postponed that to do the restaurant. And so he said, okay, I have to drop the restaurant service. I got to go. And within 3 days, literally, within 3 days of him sharing that with that small group of devotees, within 3 days, he had his passport, he had all what was needed for him to go. And he told us, he said, I'm leaving, I'm going. And we were like confused. I was new devotee, this is 1979 or something. Yeah, the end of 79, I'm really confused. What are we gonna do? And he said, well, I'm gonna send you back to New York. They're going to really train you up in book distribution, professional training with professional book distributors. He said, because Prabhupada is calling. Prabhupada wants me to go. And I thought, how is it possible that someone can love someone so much that they just like shift their life? Just like that, gave up a restaurant that was, bringing many people. People were, coming to take prasadam, and we were having a little preaching center that they would be able to cultivate these people. He just decided, I'm going to leave that. I'm leaving it because I have to go. And that's it. He left. And so, the story. Here's His Holiness Bhakti Damodara Maharaj. This is a product of the story of Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj following his spiritual master, and in his heart having so much love for his spiritual master. Now, in this letter I just read, Prabhupada explains to us. He says that to the Gaudiya Math, he says, the homage to the feet of the Acharya will enable us to be favored with the capacity of assimilating the transcendental knowledge so kindly transmitted by him to all persons without distinction. That was the compassion that I saw from Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj in those very early days of me wanting to be a devotee of the Lord, that he showed me that what real compassion means. What is real compassion? To give our lives for others. That's real compassion. And that's what he showed me in the that's what he showed me, that yes, you want to be a part of this mission. You want to be a part of this path of bhakti. Then this path of bhakti means surrendering with love, and surrendering in the mood of giving without making distinctions. That was what Srila Prabhupada gave to Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj. And that's what has endeared my heart to keep trying to be a devotee over the years. Now I'd like to just close by just sharing one small part of a letter that Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj wrote to Srila Prabhupada on Srila Prabhupada's Vyasa Puja in 1995. Okay, sorry, didn't turn down my phone. So this letter, it says, "My dear Srila Prabhupada, please permit me to offer my obeisance on this most grand occasion of your Divine Appearance Day. Vyasa Puja 1995. Can I just turn this down, please? Oh, sorry about that. He says, this is Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj writing, "If I love you, how can I not try to offer myself to one of your greatest desires, the establishment of self-sufficient Varnashram communities? If I have any love and compassion for the materialists, how can I do anything less than try to create some model spiritual communities? But there is no better way to attract people in Krishna consciousness, and there is no better way to keep people in Krishna consciousness. Dear Srila Prabhupada, please help. Maya is attacking more and more, and the task at hand to build for the future are most overwhelming. However, fully possible to perform by your love and mercy. As always, I remain selflessly begging for forgiveness and mercy. Your son, Bhakti Tirtha Swami." So I thank you all so very much for giving me an opportunity to be in this most amazing sanga of attempting to glorify Srila Prabhupada. There is no way that I can do that. I can only speak on behalf of my spiritual master and what he's taught me over the years. And I pray that by the mercy of devotees like Bhakti Dhira Damodara Maharaj, I can continue in some way to glorify Srila Prabhupada through my spiritual master, His Holiness Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj. His Holiness Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj, Ki Jai. Thank you. Thank you, Maharaj.
Beautiful presentation.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. When Bhakti Tirtha, I didn't tell this part of the story of when Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj, 1 year later, after he had gone to Africa, he came back to America and said, "I want you to go there. I want you to go to Africa." I was like, okay, and sent me there on a one-way ticket. Didn't know when I was going to leave. I ended up staying there for almost 10 years. And Bhakti Dhira Damodara Maharaj is one of those persons that came from Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj sending us there to Africa. This is the beautiful, the mercy, the compassion of Srila Prabhupada. So Maharaj now is a sannyasi and a guru. Who can understand how this transcendental process works? Thank you, Maharaj, for giving. And now Maharaj is inviting me to speak. So, Jai.
Yes, you are doing what you're supposed to do. You made the children, you have to maintain them. Thank you.
I'm so much of a child myself, Maharaj. So I'm always looking for the mercy. You know what Japataka Maharaj just said, that he asked everyone to pray for Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj. So everyone is important in this transcendental system. Krishna sees each and every one of us individually. So I need all of your prayers to stay in the process of bhakti and to keep serving our beloved spiritual master. Thank you. Thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you.
I feel like a proud mother.
Yes, you should be a proud mother. Krishna gave you the blessings.
It's amazing. A child mother. Well, thank you guys. Thank you very much. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much for joining us today. And thank you so much for reminding us what Srila Prabhupada, he has given us the gift of his disciples, as you said. That was so special. And also Srila Prabhupada said the path of bhakti is to give without distinction. That was so wonderful. And I hope to carry that in my heart. And I'm sure that everyone was really, really honored and very, very thankful for you being here today. So thank you so much for your presence, Mataji. You're so honored. Thank you.
Thank you too.
And
Bhakti Shruti. I want to thank Bhakti Shruti because I don't even know if that's a woman or a man. I don't know because I usually hear Bhaktin or Bhakta. So okay, Bhakti Shruti. Okay. Bhaktin Shruti. Okay. Thank you so very much. You've been so kind. You just kept communicating. I love communication, and you kept facilitating me with my needs in terms of how I can get on the program. So I did a mentorship workshop this morning, and so I was trying to juggle the time. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Mataji.
thank you so much for giving us your time, Mataji. We really appreciate it. And forgive me for not introducing you in the beginning, but I will say a few words now about you and your service. And so Rajalila Mataji was speaking to us from Pennsylvania, from the United States, and she is a certified trainer in conflict resolution mediation, emotionally focused couple therapy, and nonviolent communication. She's traveled all over the world and offering webinars and courses on essential technology for managing conflicts. As she mentioned, she joined ISKCON in New York in 1979. And since the beginning, she would nurture and care for new communities and for new people that were coming in. And she's assisted in so many wonderful projects, and also with the development of the Institute for Applied Spiritual Technology, founded by His Holiness Bhakti Swami. And for many years, to make a long story short, she has been serving and caring for devotees spiritually, emotionally, physically, through many, many different programs. And we're so grateful, Mataji, for all your service and your contribution to ISKCON. And thank you for joining us and sharing your wonderful words and message. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Yogini, and keep doing this nice work, Yogini. Keep serving. Yes.
Jai, thank you.
Thank you for bringing on all your disciples to do this glorious work. Thank you so much for Srila Prabhupada's glorification.
Jai Mataji, thank you.
Hare Hare Bol, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Wow, that was so beautiful and inspiring. And now we have a lovely video we would like to share with you. It's a video offering from the devotees from the India Yatra called Lover of the Lord.
He's a kind and gentle
Jai. Thank you so much to all the devotees who participated in this lovely, lovely video offering. It was so beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. And now I will hand the screen over to Sakhi Jivani Mataji to continue the second part of today's session. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Jivani Mataji. Thank you so much. It was indeed a heartfelt offering. Thank you so much. And now, dear devotees, we begin with our second round of this. So the first speaker for the second part is Her Grace Navrinda Devidasi Mataji. Navrinda Mataji is a very dedicated and sweet devotee. She is very serious in her temple services of arranging of 𝐁𝐡𝐚𝐤𝐭𝐢, 𝐁𝐡𝐚𝐤𝐬 and 𝐁 Narasimha in order. She also helps in Krishna Balram kitchen. She always tries her best to follow Maharaj instructions. So she actively and she is very enthusiastically participates in Krishna Balram's program. Thank you so much. And now we invite Her Grace Navrinda Mataji. The screen is on.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Hare Krishna dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. Vanchakalpatarubhascha kripa sindhaiva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desatarine. Dear Srila Prabhupada, please accept my humble obeisances unto your lotus feet. This year we are celebrating your 125th anniversary, and I feel grateful to the devotees for having given me the opportunity to glorify you. Dear Srila Prabhupada, I must admit that I am a disobedient and puffed up granddaughter of yours, but nevertheless, you're always watching on me and protecting me. At times when I feel myself in difficulty, I take shelter of your Hare Krishna japa. Anywhere I am, I just plug into my earphone and start listening to you. Immediately, this brings me a lot of relief to my situation. It changes totally my consciousness. Indeed, your japa is just magical. Most of the time, I don't feel like chanting. Then I seek your shelter of your Hare Krishna japa. And as a result, this brings more focus and clarity to my own japa. Indeed, I'm very grateful to you, Srila Prabhupada. Thank you for being in my life. So on this auspicious day, Srila Prabhupada, I am begging and praying so that I can develop real love for you and be empowered to serve you in your movement, trying to surrender your fallen servant, Navrinda Devidasi. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mataji. It was your offering made us feel the presence of Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much for this wonderful offering. And now our next speaker is Her Grace Ratnangi Radha Devidasi Mataji. Ratnangi Devidasi Mataji is disciple of His Holiness Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj. She took her second initiation from His Holiness Bhakti Damodara Swami Maharaj, and her Siksha Guru is His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj. We invite you, Mataji, for your offering. Here you are.
Hare Krishna. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Hare Krishna to all. Hare Krishna Gurudev, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to His Holiness Bhakti Charu Swami Guru Maharaj. All glories to Param Gurudev. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Mukham Karoti Vachala Pangum Langaiti Vinyat Patamaham Vande Shri Guru Dinatarine Paramanand Madhva Ishwara. Dear Srila Prabhupada, please accept my humble obeisances. I never saw you personally, but saw you through the eyes of His Holiness Bhakti Charu Swami Guru Maharaj. You are his Pranadhan. Srila Prabhupada, you said you are in your books, but because of my ignorance, I don't have the capacity to understand those books. I am trying with the help of senior Vaishnavas to understand them. So maybe someday I can visualize you using that medium. Srila Prabhupada, I feel so happy becoming a part of your family that I can't describe it in words. I feel I have so many homes in this world. Wherever I go, I have family. As in every nook and corner, we have an ISKCON temple and devotees. Devotees are so loving and caring, like no material people in this world are. I never feel alone or helpless after becoming a part of this family. Once a Citibank CEO shared that ISKCON has more discipline than his bank, as wherever you go from east to west, north to south, ISKCON temples, timings, and DT services are punctual. Srila Prabhupada, my son lives in Mumbai. I am in Africa. My daughter is in Europe. But each and every one of us goes to ISKCON temple when we want to feel close to home. In this cruel world where nobody gives even a needle for free, we get lovely prasadam at our temples. It doesn't matter whether we have offered anything or not. Our temples give pleasure to both body and soul. Sometimes I wonder how you thought of this, how you devised such a perfect setup for everything. This doesn't look easy for Indians, even though we have our base of spirituality. But now the whole world is following the same pattern. Mangala Aarti at 4:30 to Shayan Aarti. Srila Prabhupada, you worked your whole life till your last breath, and at the age of 70, when usually the elderly people think that we are good for nothing, you started your journey to realize your dream. What an adventurous person you are. You did this to fulfill your Guru's desire. May we also get even 1% of this kind of surrender for our Guru and for you, Srila Prabhupada. You got your Guru's instruction at the age of 22. Still, you gave your 100% to your Grihastha life and set a model for us Grihasthas. We can feel your love by getting love from your disciples, your grand disciples. They are all extensions of your love and mercy, Srila Prabhupada. Please bless me. Please bless me so that I can inspire my family and many more for taking to Krishna consciousness seriously. Please bless my family so they can also become Krishna conscious and can be an instrument to help in your mission, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission. Srila Prabhupada, I want to sing this song for you all my life. Yadi Prabhupada na hote, to kya hota, ye jeevan behta kaise. Yadi Prabhupada na hote, to kya hota, ye jeevan behta kaise. Please give me strength and mercy so that I, your ignorant grandchild, someday sitting in the boat of ISKCON can reach to the lotus feet of Guru Maharaj and to your lotus feet and can serve you personally. Your ignorant and most insignificant grandchild, Ratnangi Radha Dasi. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji. And very truly said, we all are Prabhupada's children. He has built a big, large home for all of us. Wherein we all can live together happily, chanting the glories of the Lord's name. Thank you so much. And now the much awaited segment for this session, the much awaited quiz. It's quiz time now, so it will appear on your screen. So question 1 for today's quiz is, who had seen the vision in Mayapur of devotees from all around the world coming to magnificent temple which was fulfilled by Srila Prabhupada? So please read the question carefully. And you have 4 options. Option A, Srila Rupa Goswami. Option B, Srila Sanatana Goswami. Option C, Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur. And option D, Srila Narottam Das Thakur. And the correct answer is, so here it is. We have people typing in the right answers. So very soon we'll be getting the right answer. Have voted for Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, and we have more coming up. So the correct answer is Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur. And now we move on to the next part. This is an additional information regarding this question. Vision of Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur. Very soon the chanting of Harinam Sankirtan will spread all over the world. Oh, when will that day come? When people from America, England, France, Germany, Russia will take up kartals and mridangas and chant Hare Krishna in their towns. When will the day come when the fair-skinned foreigners will come to Sri Mayapur Dham and join the Bengali Vaishnavas to chant Jai Sachinandan, Jai Sachinandan? When will the day be? It is actually from 𝐒𝐤𝐴𝐺𝐻𝑖𝐿, Bhakti Vinod Thakur 𝐒𝐤𝐴𝐺𝐻𝑖𝐿. So now we move on to our question number 2. Which was the first book Srila Prabhupada printed? I repeat, which was the first book Srila Prabhupada printed? So here are your options. There are 4 options again. Option A, Bhagavad Gita as it is, Srimad Bhagavatam. Option C, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. And option D, Sri Isha Upanishad. So quickly punch in the right answer. Again, we can see 31% of the devotees have opted for Bhagavad Gita. So very soon we are going to have the correct answer. %, 50% it seems people have opted for Srimad Bhagavatam. So the correct answer is Srimad Bhagavatam. Thank you so much, dear devotees. Results will be announced at the end of the session, so please be there with us. Just keep watching. And now we'll be having a video, a talk by Srila Prabhupada. So here it will appear on your screen.
The Krishna, his name, his form, his activities, his qualities, we cannot understand with these blunt material senses. It is not possible. Athasya Krishna namadi na bhavet grayam indriyai. Then we have got this only possession in this, how it shall understand. Sevanmukhi 𝐤𝐢𝐳𝐝. If you engage your senses in the service of the Lord, सा-मेव स्फुरत्तद, then Krishna will reveal to you the hearer. This is the process. Now, this word is very significant. Sevanmukhi 𝐤𝐢𝐳𝐝. 𝐤𝐢 means tongue. If you simply engage your tongue in the service of the Lord, you will gradually. How to engage the tongue? It is not said that if you see or if you touch, if you smell, no. If you taste. So what is the business of the tongue? The business of the tongue that we can taste nice food stuff and we can vibrate. Do these 2 jobs. Vibrate with your tongue Hare Krishna and take as much as possible prasad. And you become a devotee. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Srila Prabhupada. And now we continue with our second part of offering. And now Bhakti Jayati Mataji. We would like to invite Bhakti Jayati Mataji. Bhakti Jayati Mataji came to Krishna consciousness in 2017 while she was in the second year of college. And she has been connected with His Holiness Bhakti Dhira Swami Maharaj since 2019, enthusiastic about reading and writing and deeply inspired by the process of Krishna consciousness. She wishes to spend life going deeper and serving Maharaj and devotees and also assisting many services. Thank you so much. And now we invite you, Mataji, to read your offerings.
Thank you for the introduction, Mataji, and thank you for your service. By your permission, I will start. Dear Srila Prabhupada, please accept my humble obeisances at your lotus feet. My humble obeisances at your lotus feet, Gurudev, and my obeisances at the lotus feet of all the present Vaishnavas. Thank you to the organizing team for giving me this chance to think about Srila Prabhupada for 2-3 days and more, and for their wonderful services. Thank you, Gurudev, for giving me the intelligence to write this offering. Thank you, Srila Prabhupada, for keeping me alive. As a child only has the father to ask, I have only my spiritual masters to ask to accept my prayers and be merciful to me. There is a fundamental question I've always had. How do I believe that Krishna loves me? We follow the philosophy of love, learning to give and receive love. So it is natural for me to wonder, does Krishna love me? Looking at myself, it's hard to imagine what can possibly inspire love in him. Only love has the power to give us the capacity to endure. The father doesn't often express his love for the child through his words, but he endures all sorts of hardships for the child. A child having such a father is surely loved. Like a father, you endured so much for us. I often contemplate on those initial days of your struggle, suffering through those heart attacks, fainting on the streets to preach, wanting so desperately that your voice be heard. Yes, you're a pure devotee, so possibly the laws of the world work differently for you. Yet I find it unjust to dismiss your hardships by saying you were a pure devotee. Your hardships are like ornaments glorifying your mercy. It must have been so difficult to stand hours under the hot sun distributing those pamphlets and to endure the heart attacks. It must have taken so much courage to be in a foreign country so far away, breaking all traditional limits. Like a father, you endured and arranged for everything so that your children could be okay. Bhakti 𝐸𝐸 Maharaj says, the real illusion is not knowing how loved we are. It is misery to feel not loved and cared for, to feel forgotten and indispensable. We live like orphans in the world, and I don't wish to live like an orphan anymore, my dear Srila Prabhupada, because I'm not. It is not due to my qualities that love is inspired in Krishna's heart, but due to his intense compassion that love flows towards all. It is his quality and not my qualification. You are an instrument of his compassion, proving that Lord's merciful nature. Your actions give me hope that yes, someone cares so much for us. As I go through different twists and turns of life, please etch this reality in my heart so I never act like an orphan again. Let me practice this philosophy not as a change of dress, but as a transformation of identity. Please help me move from the platform of knowing to the platform of understanding and feeling. Devotees cannot practice devotion without association. It is extremely difficult in this world where everything is severely designed for us to turn away from devotion. Through my recent experiences, I've come to appreciate that it is extremely important for us to have different dealings than the way dealings go on in the world, so that each of us can be a strong proof of your mercy, like 𝐤𝐢𝐳 and 𝐾𝐻𝐸 were of Lord Chaitanya's. Even as I write this, I confess I could not follow this. Only and only if I can bring into implementation some glimpses of the sensitivity that you had, the compassion which drove you, can I say that I can appreciate what you did for me and the sacrifices you made. I can't in the same breath say that I'm grateful to you and then go and judge everyone. This is simply cheating you. And I know that I worship a God who is a supreme cheater. If I try to cheat him, he will perhaps give me everything, but he will cheat me of devotion. So please allow me to be more aware and appreciative of people around me. Don't let me judge them. You wanted a spiritual family. Please give me that vision. Srila Prabhupada, what a vision of the world you must have had. You saw beneath the coverings of drunk and drugged youth, great and pure devotees who would take the mission of Lord Chaitanya forward. Just like Lord Chaitanya embraced the societally rejected Haridas Thakur, you embraced and turned hippies to happies. Just like King Midas, who could turn everything into gold, you could heal cold and depressed hearts by the touch of your pure love. I have complete faith in your blessings. A day would come when I have complete faith in your blessings. A day would come when I would also have a reflection of your love and sensitivity in my heart. I will not feel any lack of fear anymore and just practice this culture of love. A culture of acceptance more than judgment, of hope more than despair, of selflessness more than selfishness. Of course, I cannot do much by my own strength, but you said to endeavor. You say over and over again to endeavor. So I will always try, and I will try sincerely in the hope that you will utilize me. I will not give up trying. Each time things go extremely bad, I today just remind myself of what you said. Just chant and hear. Thank you for reciprocating each time that I've prayed to you without fail, for coming in so many ways to save me, and for showing me a vision of the world ruled by love. I feel responsible to go deeper in my bhakti, to have the strength to reciprocate with all the blessings you gave me. I'm just a tiny little spark. I could not do much. But I know if I can follow your instructions and be connected to you through my Gurudev, that you will find ways to utilize me. And this is my prayer to you. Please utilize me, because this is the only way for me to know that I'm on the right path and I'm not in some self-created illusion. Please don't let me be trapped in illusions anymore. Let me see beyond the fears and accept the mercy that you're extending towards me. I don't have any hopes in myself. You've seen me mess up a million times. Having only known selfishness, I cling deeply to it. Only by your mercy, mercy of my Gurudev, and mercy of Vaishnavas do I have any hope. Please allow me to move into the cooling moonlight of Krishna Chandra and not cling to the darkness of my heart with so much intensity. Please allow me to glorify the Queen of Vrindavan for eternity as a dust particle on your lotus feet. Please allow me to accept your mercy. Otherwise, what will I do? What else is there to do except bhakti? I know you are extremely merciful because I got attached to you exactly 40 years after you left. And I consider that as a miracle. Thank you, Srila Prabhupada. Always stumbling, but always waiting for your mercy. Thank you. Your eternal daughter.
Jai. Thank you so much, Mataji. It was indeed a very sweet and touchy expressions. Thank you so much. And now a quick look at the results. Quick look. Here it is. Quiz results. Now we are going to announce the results. So the winner of our quiz today is question number 1, Bhakta Atula Singh. And the second devotee who has won this is Shesha Das. And the third is Radhakund Dasi Mataji. And the winners of our second question for today's quiz is Shesha Das, followed by His Grace Madhusudan Das and Gaur Hari Das. A big Hari Bol and congratulations to all the winners. Thank you so much. And now, dear devotees, we are going to have a talk by His Holiness Bhakti Tirtha Swami Maharaj, a video presentation. Is going to speak on the topic piercing instructions.
We were walking with Srila Prabhupada, and I was asking a few questions. I don't really recall the questions. But then Prabhupada at one point, he stopped and he looked directly at me, and he quoted Bhagavad Gita 264. And that verse has so much in purport, so much to do with renunciation of the senses, controlling the mind, and depending, on Krishna's mercy. So I took that very much to heart, and I, started living a very sort of austere life, where I would chant, 48 rounds every day. I'm sorry, 42 rounds. I said 48 before, 42 rounds, and I would sleep, for a long, long time. I would sleep in about 3 hours. I would get up 12:30, 1 o'clock, chant most of my rounds before Arti, do some reading, and I was eating once a day in that way. But that instruction, it was like so piercing. And it was Mahabodhi who reminded me of that, because he was saying how we were all together, and Prabhupada just almost knocked me over, with that instruction. And because even afterwards, the devotees were saying, Prabhupada gave you such a personal instruction, it's amazing. Because the next day, Mahabodhi got such an instruction, different kind of instruction, but he got a personal instruction. And so it was very clear on his mind. So we were talking about that the other day, and he was helping me to focus. And then I started thinking how that had much of influence in encouraging me in my life of sort of simplicity, and renunciation.
Thank you so much, Maharaj, for such an inspiring talk. Thank you so much. And now, dear devotees, we come to the end of today's session. It was really an interesting session today. We had a very inspiring talk by His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj. Thank you so much, Maharaj, for briefing the occasion. Thank you all, dear devotees. And I would now like to request Maharaj, would you like to speak something, few words to our dear devotees?
Spoken to me?
Yes, Maharaj. Yes, Maharaj.
Okay. Thank all the devotees for beautiful presentations. His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj, Her Grace, Brother Leela, and all the devotees who have offered glorification to Srila Prabhupada. All of you should know that it is a GBC resolution that all devotees should write offerings to Prabhupada. So what we are doing, it is approved by the GBC, and the GBC are the bona fide representative of Srila Prabhupada. So offering your letters to Prabhupada for his glorification is wonderful. It is heard by him, and we are blessed by that. We also heartily thank the organizers and everyone who has participated in this wonderful association. And praise the Prabhupada, give all of you blessings, so we can again and again arrange to share his blessings and experience his blessings by coming together and discuss about the wonderful opportunity he has given to us. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. Very truly said. Yes, we all have the blessings by your mercy of Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Maharaj. I would really like to extend our gratitude to you for giving us such a wonderful platform and organizing this event. Thank you so much. Dear devotees, before we end today's session, here we have a quick link for tomorrow's session. Tomorrow, session 4, we are going to have Her Grace Mukti Hetu Dasi Mataji, followed by a talk by His Holiness Bhakti Charudeshna Swami Maharaj, and he'll be speaking on gift of Srila Prabhupada. After that, we are going to have Anantacharya Das, followed by a beautiful musical offering, Gurudev Kripa Bindu Daya. And after that, we are going to have offerings by grand disciples of Srila Prabhupada, and then we are going to have a talk by Srila Prabhupada, followed by offerings. We continue our offerings by grand disciples of Srila Prabhupada. The last segment will be a talk by His Holiness Bhakti Tirtha Swami Maharaj about Prabhupada's techniques. So dear devotees, stay tuned. Please do join us for tomorrow's session. Indeed, we are going to have a very interesting session tomorrow. So stay tuned, stay connected, stay safe. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Yadi Prabhupada hoito, tobe ki hoito, e jivana bahita kishe. Yadi Prabhupada hoito, tobe ki hoito, e jivana bahita kishe. Nitai gorera, apara karuna, kedita shakala deshe. Nitai gorera, apara karuna, kedita shakala deshe. Yadi Prabhupada hoito, tobe ki hoito, e jivana bahita kishe.